Hi, I'm Lucas Mack. I'm a former TV reporter, a published author, TEDx speaker, musician, advertising agency owner, and management consultant. I'm also a former Christian preacher who dedicated 15 years of my life searching for truth and love. I've done a lot of work to heal, and I'm on a mission to see the hurting get healed and the healed go out and heal others, in order for all of us to experience the true love and light we desire. This podcast is me sharing my journey with you, so you don't feel alone in your journey. Welcome to the Golden Rule Revolution. Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to another episode of the Golden Rule Revolution. I am Lucas Mack, and today I'm so excited to bring my conversation with Alex Cabbadias. In this conversation, I really called her a prophet. She's bringing a divine message to humanity. She's an intuitive. She's a Reiki healer. She's all sorts of wonderful things. But most importantly, she is a dear sister with a beautiful message for humanity. So enjoy. My powerful sister, Alex, how are you?
I'm so good. I think this is like the most important time in the history of Mother Earth.
Yes.
That's how I feel. And I feel that even though the circumstances are showing us such, duality, because duality is like raising to the roof right now.
Yes.
And I feel that the virtues that we have within are starting to come out at this time. And it's the right time for us to shine our light. It's the right time for us to acknowledge that we come from God, we come from source. And this is the time that our planet needs us to bring forth this divinity that we have within.
That's right.
That, we are not separated from God.
Right.
That's a belief that some people have, or some people have learned throughout their existence because of religion or their cultures and stuff. And, even though, I don't know, there are people who might say, yeah, well, but thanks to religion, I managed to have faith in something, or thanks to religion, I managed to survive in certain circumstances because it gave me strength. So I'm not saying that everything about it is wrong. Right. I'm just saying that we need to acknowledge what's, behind what we know as structures, as institutions,
That's right.
And
God
that
is
we can,
great.
yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, this is great. I was just going to say God is greater than the religions. God is greater than the earth. He pre-existed all religions. He will outlast all religions. He is beginning. He is end. God as source. However someone wants to put that father energy of, I think this is the time where that energy just brings everyone in this like masculine hug in the earth, in that nurturing feminine energy, like unifies everyone to this.
Totally.
Oh,
you know what? I have this image every time I'm meditating, which is, I'm going to share it with you and everyone that's listening. I feel that the earth, Mother Gaia, she's like raising from the center, from the core of the earth, like, how can I put it? Like as if it were a chalice,
wow.
And we are within, and then I feel the God presence, like the masculine aspect of the divinity coming down, and like creating a sphere of light around us, like the mother and the father uniting and joining forces.
That is so beautiful.
The divine masculine and the divine feminine can only not just embrace us, but also help us, like bring forth what they have brought within. Like from, sorry, I'm trying to connect the words because I get so, how can I put it? When I'm talking about these things, I'm like in my energy state.
Good.
And it's like my words sometimes I start rumbling. I'm sorry about that. But what I mean is that it brings forth the divinity within the person, both aspects, like the yin and the yang. They start connecting, intertwining, and when we find presence and we bring forth our presence into the world, it's from this union. It's not from one or the other perspectives.
Right.
It's the whole. It's as a whole.
That's right.
You know,
As one.
and
Yes, the oneness.
as one, the unity,
Yes.
the unity consciousness.
That's right.
It.
You know, it's I want to hear your path to how you got to where you are, and before you share that, I think it's important for those in religion. Religion has done a disservice to humanity's view of God because they made God associated with gender.
Yeah, and with punishment.
As opposed to energy, like masculine and feminine energy have nothing to do with male and female body parts or
exactly
the human body. And this is getting so, this is a huge barrier for a lot of people. Even when Jesus said, God is not a man, God is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. He's saying he's not a man. Don't think of him as a man. And what is Rome? I always tie everything back to Rome as the epitome of the structure of the Matrix. It's Roman. It's these, instead of worshiping, looking at nature, Rome creates from nature a statue and says, no, this is to be worshiping. Like, well, that's just stone,
exactly.
you know. But Rome made it genderized versus teaching the true energies of the father as that masculine energy. And that's why so many, when we have father wounds, it's distrusting the masculine energy that wants to give us. When we have mother wounds, we're distrusting the ability to be nurtured from within. And it's, all these are going away, thank goodness, but people are still hung up, I think, on when they say God is father, it's not God is a genetic man. It's just the energy of giving. Yeah,
exactly. Totally. Yeah. While I was listening to you talking about the wounds, I was thinking about, you know, when we start acknowledging these wounds and we give ourselves the chance to heal those wounds, we are not only doing a service to ourselves, but also to everyone we are connecting with.
Yes.
You know, and I feel that if we start looking at this new perspective of doing our healing work, not just for us, because it's not just for us. That's the whole point of the unity consciousness, right? So it's not just for us. Whatever we do is allowing us to be our better version to share with the rest of the world. So that when we connect with each other, then you're not, you know, like absorbing my crap, and I'm not absorbing your crap. And we're, you know,
that's right.
And it's like, I mean, it has nothing to do with you. What I need to work on in myself is my crap to work on. It's not yours.
That's right.
Know?
That's right.
So, and I feel that as we start doing this inner work, we start realizing that it was never other people's fault.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because we're always pointing fingers at everyone, you know,
right.
And we're always blaming everyone for what we are experiencing.
Yeah.
Let it be our mom, our dad, our brothers and sisters, our work, the government, the health system, whatever, you name it.
Exactly.
And it's like, if you start giving your personal power, which is called personal power for a reason, right? If you start giving your personal power to everything that's around you, to all these, you know, institutions or whatever you want to call it, then you're disempowering yourself.
That's right.
You're not the one, you know, making the decisions.
Right. Right.
You know, in truth.
One of the things that really shifted my perspective was learning about soul contracts. And when I first learned about it, it shifted everything for me, because I grew up in just horrible things happened. And yet when I understand that my soul had the contract with these people to do these things so that I could know the depth of darkness, so I could bring forth the brilliance of light and not be afraid of darkness. And then we can walk that we've all, and I don't blame those people. They did exactly their perfect role. They played their perfect role in as dirty and in the human plane. horrible. But in the spiritual plane, it's all good. How would I know to stand in love and healing? And yeah, it's incredible to step out of the victimhood and truly say, okay, I chose it so I could heal it, so I could break it. So I am stronger than generations past. The pain stops with me, and it shall not pass to another. And I look at my 3 children now who have never been hit, threatened, intimidated, molested, touched, all these things. And I look at their innocence that I didn't get to have, but they now get to have. And I get to heal by watching them live. Show me what it is to be childlike again. Show me what it is to have innocence. Show me what it is to not have any shame of their body, or it's just so beautiful. I'm like, this is what the inner work does. It's like,
I have one word for that, and that's freedom.
It's freedom. Yes.
I mean, they're free, and they know that that's their truth. They came to this world free.
Yes.
And they are completely embodying freedom. That's what I feel,
Gets me choked up. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, you should give yourself a pat on your shoulder, because this is thanks to you, man. I mean, really, you did the right thing. You did your inner work because you understood what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Your children are not to blame for your own crap. I mean,
exactly right.
Why should they pay for it?
That's right.
You see?
That's right.
So bravo. I mean, you did the work you had to do with yourself, and and your wife as well, because obviously your kids, have this masculine and feminine energy.
Yes.
In balance.
Yeah.
They are centered, and they can live their life in truth and in freedom. That's why we are here, really, truly.
It's so beautiful. I referenced this on a podcast the other day, but my daughter asked, why are there bad people in the world? And I'm like, that's interesting. She's 8. She's maybe she heard, I don't know what they heard on school or whatever, but I said, well, everyone's just here to play their role. And I said, do you know what hot water is? She said, yeah. I said, how do you know why it's hot? How do you know it's hot? She's like, I don't know. I was like, because you know what cold water is. How do we know what healing is? Because we know what pain is. How do we know what light is? Because we know what darkness is. We know this duality world is the great school for us to learn. And I really think what's happening up until December, up until the last, everyone just puts their arms up. Those that are in despair will finally just let go, and they think they're giving up. But that's when the rescue comes. And then we all get to walk in this new world, totally unattached to the old systems. And if we tried to bring an attachment of the old systems into the new world, it doesn't work.
Well, we are not giving up. We're giving in.
I love that.
We're surrendering.
That's it. We're
surrendering.
Yes.
It's the only way that all these structures that we used to think were, natural.
Yeah.
There's nothing natural about that.
Right.
That's why they cannot continue in this new earth. They can't be here because there's nothing. There's no true interest in the freedom of people, in the people's how can I put it, embracing their greatness, their light. There's nothing in those structures that connect us with our true nature. So they cannot continue being here. There's no reason for them to be here. They don't vibrate in the same frequency.
That's right.
So
that's right.
So that's why there's no sense in those structures being here. It doesn't make any sense anymore. And that's what's coming to the surface.
Yes.
As we acknowledge that all these structures were, let's put this between inverted commas, right? They served us for a few years, let's say, right? And I'm saying it like that. Then we start understanding that underneath all this illusion that we've been living in, there was something else, which is coming to the surface now.
Yes.
Which is coming to the light. And thanks to that, we can evolve. But it's not because we are doing things so that we change and we, go up the ladder in the evolution or whatever. We are just remembering.
That's right.
We are remembering. I mean, when we are born, the kid has no structures like the adults. They don't know about all these structures that we see, in the everyday life. They have no clue of that. They are here, they are free, they are innocent, just like your kids.
Yes. Yes.
And that's how we come to the world. We don't come to the world with all these, structures that make no sense to our true nature, I'm saying, right?
Right.
So what's going on now is that all this stuff that do not serve us anymore are crumbling down, and thank God, thank the universe, thank whoever you want to thank, that this is going on, because thanks to that, we are remembering. We are all remembering. And as you may see in many countries in the world, people are standing up together.
Yes.
Together.
So beautiful. It is so beautiful.
My God.
It is so beautiful.
Finally.
Finally.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you about the United States, because it's so bizarre in so many ways. But before we get into that, what has been your journey? Tell me about like you growing up and your spiritual awakening and how all that came to be.
Okay. So as I mentioned to you before, my dad, he is Greek, and my mom, she's Lebanese. So both cultures are very strong cultures, their food, their religion, their loudness, everything, they share these aspects, both of them. Anyway, so as I was growing up, and I went to an English school, actually, I used to have my subjects in English and in Spanish, and the kids, they were all Argentinian or maybe Italian or whatever, but we were very different in many aspects. And I never felt that I could fit in, because I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was very much connected to nature, to spirit, to all of this that to me was natural. But then I had to start blocking that, because nobody would come close to me because they thought I was a weirdo, And I remember being, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old and going to my great-grandparents' home. I met them. I had that, blessing on my Lebanese side. And I remember, walking in the garden and interacting with the fireflies and the butterflies and all the bugs around. And I don't know, touching the flowers and feeling their energy. Wow. And all these things. I mean, I was really, really little, and I used to talk about these things, and people used to say to me, "Dude, I mean, are you crazy? What's going on with you? You're weird." Kids, how they are. You're weird. I don't want to talk to you. You're weird.
Right.
Don't go away. So this kind of thing. So I started blocking this natural connection that I had with source, with spirit, with nature, which is all the same, really.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
So, and then when I was around 16, my dad, the Greek guy that I was talking about before, my dad came home from work, and he was so peaceful, and he's not like that. I mean, he's a Taurus and he's Greek, so he's not peaceful,
Yeah.
So he was coming in and he was floating on air. And I was like, where are you coming from? And he said to me, oh, I'm studying Reiki. I was like, dude, what's that? What's going on? Because you're not my dad. You've been changed or something, Wow. And then he came home with a book that that he got at this Reiki studio. So I asked him, so what do you do? What's Reiki? What's that?
Mm.
And he said to me, so this is a very ancient healing technique. What's that? What do you do? So he explained, and I was like, I'm a Pisces, so everything that's esoteric and
You love it. Yep.
I'm like, woohoo, that's me,
That's right.
And I don't smoke anything, and I don't take mushrooms or anything. That's my nature, right?
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's
yeah. So that's my natural state. So I was to my dad about this, and he said to me, do you want to go and take the course with me? I'm like, yeah, can I go? And I was in high school, right? Wow. So this was 1996, so that you have an idea of the time. So he asked his teacher, and the guy said, yeah, it's fine, bring her in. So I went, and I was like the only kid there. Everyone was like 50 or something, right? So I was there, and I mean, I was listening to everything they were talking about, and then experiencing with their practices and everything, what a session was like. And I mean, I was like, whoa, what is going on? I mean, because on one hand, it felt really weird, and on the other hand, it felt so natural to me.
Yeah, familiar. Yes, yes.
So I had to, understand what was going on, really. Yeah. And that was the first time when I was in session that I got connected to Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah. So wow. I was 16 at that time, and he came to me in the session. So I was like in a, in this very quiet state, and I saw his presence there. And I felt him giving me a message and everything that I really needed for that time, because I was working on my relationship with my mom. That was one of the things that I had to heal in myself. So anyway,
yeah.
So that was the very first time that after I started, unblocking myself, yes. I got in touch with an ascended master. And then, so I went back to school, to high school, and, I was talking to my friends there, and they were like, dude, you're so weird, again. So you know what I said at that time? I said, wait a second, why am I weird? Because I'm different? Because I like different things? So I spoke to my teacher, to my Reiki teacher at that time, and I said to him, look, this is going on at school. I didn't think that if I talked about this, that would be the reply, because I found it so natural when I was experiencing it.
Yeah.
And the guy said to me, you know what? Why don't you stop calling it weird and you start calling it unique? Or maybe different,
Yeah.
But not weird. There's nothing weird about this. So that was my first encounter with spirituality after I was a kid. Wow. And then I started practicing yoga and Tai Chi and meditating. And then I became certified in all of this. And then I started studying other holistic therapies that I still, work with my clients. And so it was fascinating, because every time I'm connecting through one of these therapies, I experience so many things. So it has opened up a whole new spectrum for me in the connection with life, really. Wow. So that's how it all started.
Amazing. What on the Greek side and Lebanese side, was there? What religious backgrounds did your parents come from? Did they come from
they are Greek Orthodox.
Greek Orthodox, yeah.
Have you ever seen My Big Greek Fat Wedding?
Yes. So yeah.
Okay. So I'm Tula. Yeah. I always joke about that, because every time I watch that movie, I'm like,
that's hilarious.
Holy crap. I'm going to paint the Greek flag at my parents' garage. I'm bringing an Aphrodite statue and put it in the garden.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's funny, but it's true.
How did we get connected? How did you find me?
I think I heard one of your podcasts.
Was it with Lori? With Lori Ladd?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay, yes.
That's it. I love her. I love her so much. You know what happens to me every time I listen to her? It's like I feel that my higher self is talking through her. That's never happened to me before. Wow. It's like I listen to her and I'm like, dude, that's me talking. You know, because the things that she is like bringing forth for people to connect with, it's the same stuff that I see and I feel in myself.
Wow.
And I'm like, crap. I don't want to say the word shit if I'm not allowed.
Oh,
I don't know.
Can.
Anyway,
Okay,
shit. You know, with my Argentinian accent and everything.
I love it.
You know, and I'm like, I mean, I stopped listening to many spiritual people that are on Instagram because there's so much fear-based or anger-based stuff going on.
Yeah.
And you know, it makes me really anxious and I feel very triggered.
Yeah.
You know? Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Go, keep going. No, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I love hearing your story.
So, you know, I asked myself, why am I being triggered by these things? So when I was meditating and I asked, you know, my guides, I was asking them, what should I learn from these triggers? What's going on beneath, you know, underneath this that I'm experiencing right now? Because there's something that I need to see that I'm not seeing. So please give me clarity. And what I saw there was you're not listening to everything that you're listening to through your higher self. This is triggering your past wounds, your ego, and all these things. This is not your truth, in truth. You know? So this is the message that they gave to me. And I said that's it. I get it now. Because every time I see something that might create some kind of anxiety, fear, or whatever, and it causes that feeling within me, I understand that I'm not seeing the situation through the eyes of source. I need to step back and watch the thing from another perspective.
Yes.
You know? Yes. Because I mean, all those emotions that get that come to the surface with these triggers have nothing to do with our truth. That's right. And with our essence. It has nothing to do with that. So when I got that, I started getting less triggered, but also I started connecting with those teachers that are online at the moment that I feel resonating with, you know, because we never resonate with everyone.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
I mean, we can learn stuff from everything because everything is teaching us at the end of the day, but then we don't resonate with every single thing that's out there. That's why we don't, you know, we don't all eat the same food. We don't all, you know, watch the same movies, whatever. I'm just giving an example here, but you know, the variety is so wide, but then we need to start knowing ourselves more and see with which things we are resonating with and pick those. Because otherwise, I mean, they could be teaching us something, but that doesn't mean that it's going to contribute to our growth. Right. It's two different things. That's the teaching behind this that I got from my guides, at least, you know. So anyway,
that's beautiful. I think a lot of the spiritual self-help packaged messaging that has been very popular over the past 5 years that modeled themselves after the Tony Robbins type, that path. And I really like Tony, but they tried to emulate something that already was, as opposed to being their own authentic selves, I find. And I feel like a lot, their lessons to wake up are to realize that they traded popularity in the 3D plane instead of being authentically themselves to lead in the 5D plane. And all these people like you and I, Lori, I mean, numerous.
Of course.
have watched these two worlds play, and even yesterday, Brene Brown. So when this airs, a few days ago, when Brene Brown did something, I don't know. My wife is telling me that she was just getting ripped because she turned off her comments when she made a political statement, and someone said, "You're about authenticity and courage and bravery. How are you turning your comments off?" And that, people are going to wake up more and more to these lessons to learn to not put your faith and trust in another person, to go in with oneself and see what aligns and take, and like you said, keep going and keep surrendering, because we are walking into this world. It will look nothing at all whatsoever like the past. And I think many will be shocked, many will be prepared, many will be ready to lead and teach and guide, and many will be finally willing to, I think, learn, like, oh, okay, I see.
I mean, the feeling will be, oh, I'm home.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's so cool hearing that Jesus showed up to you. I tell people, I mean, one of the great messages is, if Jesus showed up to Paul on the road to Damascus and spoke to him, he's doing it today to people all over the world. Like, don't worry about, like, do you believe in Jesus? The Christian Romanistic mentality was, we're coming. I say this all the time. We're coming. Rome would say, we're coming to a new land. Convert or die. Submit or die.
Right.
And they're like, you got to believe what we believe. This is the doctrine to become Roman. If you want to eat our food, enjoy our utilities, have our blessing, all these things, you have to become Roman. And right away in the book of Acts in the New Testament, here's an example that completely wipes away that. Jesus shows up and talks to Paul after Jesus was already ascended and changed Paul's life. Jesus shows up to you. Jesus showing up all over the world. People, let it be. Like, let God be God, source be source, love be love, and stop trying in fear, trying to control, manipulate, coerce, connive people's beings. Just live in love.
There's something that I learned from that was not the only ascended master that I interacted with, but there's something that I did learn from all of them, which is they are just a reflection of ourselves, of our essence. And they are there interacting with us so that we awaken that aspect in ourselves. It's not that they are separated from us or better than us. That's not it.
Right.
They are just a representation of the divinity that we all have inside.
Yes.
That
is so beautiful.
And I mean, it could be anyone. I mean, it could be Buddha, it could be, I don't know, Saint Germain, whoever, because there are so many ascended masters. Did you see I got a tattoo? It's Metatron's cube. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know why I did that? Because for 2 months, I had Metatron every meditation coming to me and saying, it's going to protect you. You need to get that on your arm.
Wow.
For over 2 months, man. I mean, and I'm like, you gotta be joking, I love tattoos, but it's like, why a tattoo? And then I understood that once you get this guidance and you go ahead with it, it's like there's a reason behind that. Why are you doubting it? Go ahead and do it. Stop questioning. So I really stopped questioning these kind of messages a very long time ago. Like a very long, because there's a reason. There's always a reason behind that.
Yes.
And something very magical happened when I got this tattoo done. In the next meditation, not on the same day, on the next day, I was meditating and I heard him saying to me, I don't hear, I get blocks of thought, right? Okay, so that's my way of channeling. So I will say hear him or heard him saying to me that I had to activate it. So he gave me the instructions on how to activate his energy in me. And it has to do with this thing that we are merging, the energy coming from above with the energy coming from below. Below, not meaning, hell, meaning the inner earth, right?
Yeah, the depth.
So,
Right.
I want to make this distinction because
yeah, good point.
we all have this image of, oh no, we're going to hell, we're going down. No.
Right.
That's why I don't know if you've seen that meditation that I recorded called the Inner Earth Journey.
Yes, that was so beautiful.
Oh, okay, so it has to do with the fact that both are merging, both energies are merging. So the inner earth and the energy coming from outer space, if you want to call that. So they are both merging in the new earth. We are both. And even though we are not used to maybe interacting with the crystal world and with the divas in nature and all these beings, they are there. They are always there. And it's very important that we acknowledge their presence because they live here just like us. And the message that I got about this aspect is that they are there to serve us. They are not weird thingies flying around and trying to spook us. It's like they are there to help us increase our energy field, increase our connection with nature.
Yes.
All these things which are so important because it's like merging the exterior, what's it called, the external nature with the internal nature. Because we are still talking about unity consciousness. This is part of that as well.
Right.
One
of my good friends, a divine soul. This as all are, but this rabbi, he's a dear friend. He's a Hasidic rabbi.
Right.
He like floats. He's just this beautiful, beautiful soul. Right. And he said and I studied with him every week for 3 years straight. And I just loved studying all these safers and these ancient texts and the Kabbalah with him. And he said, if you don't understand that Satan is God's greatest servant, then you don't understand God. And I was like, what? He said, nothing in existence, seen or unseen, operates out of the will of God. Nothing. Everything is divinely in its place and its time, serving its perfect role. And when I thought about this, I thought, God is before what is. God existed to bring forth that which is, so God can know himself, and we are that experience of knowing. So I thought, okay, so Satan, this satanic world, this dark void of God, the void of God consciousness, is pulling this like current, and it creates fear, accusation, judgment, polarity, all these things. It's pulling. And God allows it so that when we wake up to this is not where I want to be, God can say, perfect. Because the minute we say this is not where I want to be, we get pulled out of this. Right. And it's that duality, again, that contrast. And I'm like, this is amazing. And that's where like Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then all of a sudden, like, that sounds very nice. Like, okay, that makes sense. There's no real confusion with that. It's pretty clear. Then Genesis 1:2, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And everyone's like, what? What is happening? And then Genesis 1:3, and God said, let there be light. And there was light, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So he allowed utter darkness on this sphere to bring forth brilliant light, so that we knew, light, darkness, and he divided those two.
Can I add something to this that you're saying?
Please, say.
How can a seed grow if it's not put into the dark soil?
That is so good. And Okay,
You
to
know,
this, where are precious metals found? In darkness, not on the surface. Fool's gold's found on the surface, but pure gold
yeah,
is found in darkness, in the ground.
there you go.
There's so much beauty in this, and most people are afraid of the dark, and that's why the message is now waking up to you are the light. This is why I speak a lie come from the Christian world and the Jewish world.
Right.
And there's so much fear, and yet Jesus' very first message in the Sermon on the Mount, he doesn't qualify. He doesn't say, well, if you believe this, or you do these things, or you are this, or if you, he just says, you're the light of the world.
Yeah.
Remember, you are the light. How can we see if we don't shine? How can we, lead people out unless we wake up to say, oh, the light is from within, not from without. Yeah.
Totally. I always get this image about the seed when it's inside the soil. So what does the seed need to do in order to come to the light? It first needs to understand its strength, its power, right? And believe that is not it. That's not the end of its life. That is only what is pushing it to start growing and coming to the surface and expanding and then reaching the light on the outside. But first, the seed needs to go within and find its strength and its light within. It will not find it inside the soil.
Powerful.
You understand?
Yes.
So the same thing happens with a baby.
Yeah.
I get this image, which is the baby, when it's, put inside the mom's belly, it's a very dark and humid environment. It's not filled with light and love. No, man, I mean, really, I did a regression to my mom's womb, and I know what I'm talking about, really.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, so the baby, even though it's, in this environment, it's being nurtured. It's connecting to its own will to live. It's not the mom's will that the kid lives, it's the kid's will to live. And the mom is a mom because of the baby. So the baby is the teacher. It's not the other way around.
That is so
I mean, every time I think about these things, I'm like, I'm not a mom, I've never had a baby, but it doesn't matter. I mean, in this aspect, it's like that kid is coming here to show you your path.
Yes.
It's not there for you to, create structures around it or around him or around her.
Right.
That's not it. That kid is here to trigger the hell out of you.
Yes. Yes.
And to help you realize what you still need to work in yourself, what things you haven't allowed yourself in your own life.
Yes.
Many things. And I've seen this with, all of my relatives. I've done a lot of inner work because I had to, right? Because otherwise I wouldn't be talking like this, honestly.
Right.
And what I realized, that in my family tree, especially on my mom's side, that Lebanon has had lots of issues with war and all these things, and also with what's it called, with oppression on the woman, and violence and all these things, So there's something that I've seen in each woman in my family, which is they all expected their daughter to heal herself, to heal themselves, and that's not their job.
Right.
That's not their job.
Right.
It's the other way around. Your kid is coming here, what it is to live in freedom, what it is to be aligned, what it is to be alive, because that's how they come to the world.
Right.
Then you set all these structures around the kid. But when they come here, they are purity, they are freedom
Yes.
embodied, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. Truly.
So,
Truly. I have girl, boy, girl,
right.
and divinely placed that way because my son, I had a hard enough time. I couldn't bathe my kids for the first 6 years of their life. I couldn't be around them. I had a very, in which brought back the suicidal tendencies in me. I still wasn't willing to fate, like something's broken. I felt like I was like, I wasn't wired correctly. I was truly like a broken vessel that needed to escape out of this existence. And when I had my son, I would get so angry and not at him. But I felt this, like, first of all, the rage that I experienced and the violence and the horrible things that I experienced, I felt like I was like channeling that anger not at my son, but from my dad, but back to my dad. I was so angry. How could you do it? To strip away the innocence. And I was confronting all this like anger and rage that my son mirrored that existed in me.
That's how he's your teacher, you see.
Yes, exactly right.
There you go.
Because he didn't have to experience anything from me to him. He showed me, I was already conscious enough to know at this time, like what's coming in me and what's revealed in me is something for me to process. But I would tell my wife, it just makes me so angry. How does any human strip away the innocence of these beautiful babies, these beautiful teachers? It's beyond heinous. And yet we heal, and yet we do the work, and yet we go and I don't know. I'm just sharing that as it was fascinating where I recognized that anger was not at my son. It was at my dad, but my son was triggering that.
Yeah.
In something I probably did. Only the outcome or the result was much different. I experienced the rage and anger. He doesn't have to, or never will, or never had to. But that's the interesting thing about that the unhealed versus healed path. And that's really like, if there's any duality that where we get to as humans focus on, are we walking towards health? Or are we walking towards pain? That's it. It's like, come, let us heal together. Let us lock arms together. Let us love together. Let us be permissions for each other to share the truth together. Let us shame each other no more. Let that be a thing of the past. And this is what I get so excited about, is just beautiful souls like you and connecting. And like, I recorded a second episode with Lori that's coming out November 2nd. And it is like, it is so intense. Even she and I were afterwards like, whoa, what just happened? It's
right.
But like you and like all of us light workers are connecting right now, strengthening the connectivity all around the globe and really holding space for the earth. And a lot of people want to pull me into politics, and it sometimes I've even had people tell me my politics are wrong. I'm like, I don't even talk about politics. I don't even care about. I care about sovereignty and healing and wholeness and goodness and truth and beauty and honor, and all these things matter. Politics is a distraction from these paths. And
there's one question that you can ask yourself. Is politics part of the structure for the new earth? You know, is it going to nurture myself? And as I speak about politics, am I going to be doing any good? So these are the questions that I always ask myself, you know, because here in Argentina, I don't know if you know a bit about my country, but you know, don't get me started. Anyway, so Argentina has been a country that has gone through the crappiest crap in the planet, really. And it still is, right? So with all this pandemic thing, sorry that I call it like that, but you know.
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Am I allowed?
Yeah. Say it. Say
All
it.
right. So with this pandemic,
I won't attack you. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is that we have been already for 8 months in quarantine. And now they have passed this law that they want to do massive compulsory vaccination.
Yep. Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, and the poverty level here is now over 50%. You know?
Yeah.
Lots of people had to close their shops. You know, lots of things happened. And the thing is that I am really hoping that this country starts awakening a bit more. I have seen lots of people demonstrating in a peaceful way, which is something really good. I have seen a bit less violence than in other times, you know? So
yeah.
I think that this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I still feel that there's a lot of awakening to do here, at least.
It's interesting why you're saying that. It came to me that there's this classic liberalism, which means freedom for all, expression, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of ideas, freedom of assembly, all these which is the First Amendment in the United States Constitution, which makes our country so unique in that regard. And then sadly in the 1880s, the progressive era started, and it used the words of virtue. It used virtuous words,
right?
But connivingly, and so we're talking about like satanically seductive, use the words, the right words. Take care of people, love people, you know, no one's left out, but use the same system that created the issues in the first place. So the words were alluring, and then the system's still the same.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, hurting a lot of people too, because they're waking up. There's a lot of well-intended people, but are still trying to use the system to fix the system.
That's it.
And they don't understand that the system is literally going away.
Right.
And you know, in this country, there is no, like, I'm not sure what I think of Donald Trump. It's either you love him or they hate him.
I know.
And what I say is, do you understand that he is a mirror to whatever's inside you? Just as my son was a mirror to what I had to heal. Everything's a mirror to bring to the level, the surface, like what we get to heal. And well, I was talking, I did this post the other day. Actually, I'll read it because someone commented, and I think they did miss the point, but it was a good question, and I responded back, but I said, those you feel hatred for are simply mirrors to show you what's inside your heart. Instead of cursing them, thank them, because awareness is the first step towards healing, and healing leads to your freedom. And the person said, this is where it gets hard to understand. How does hating pedophiles make you one? I said, that's not what I said. It doesn't make you what you hate. They're just showing you what's inside you. And my buddy and I were talking about this because if someone hates Donald Trump, or I don't even want to use Trump because it's too easy for people. Pedophiles, the most vile people that strip away innocence of these innocent babies. So they deserve to die because that doesn't exist. That doesn't belong on this earth. That energy just doesn't belong. If someone is bringing that energy, it just it doesn't belong here. But I have no hatred towards that. There's no energy. I have no energy charge towards them. It's just as a mechanism of bringing this forth always. it just belongs off this planet.
Yeah.
And my buddy would say, well, how do you not hate them? I said, well, if you have hate towards them or any person, it could be Trump, it could be whatever, nothing will satiate that hate. You could cut their, I mean, you could torture the person. I don't want to get graphic, but I was with my friend. You could do the most heinous things to them, and it still won't satiate the hate.
Yeah,
because the hate has nothing to do with them. You're still left with what you are attached to, that energy. So don't you see? Yes, you can want something removed, but the energy that it's showing you is it's something within you to heal, not
totally.
That will not solve it.
Totally. So this is very, very, it resonates a lot in within me regarding things that I used to give power to trigger me. You know, those are just triggers.
Yeah.
I mean,
and triggers are the guides.
So the feeling of hatred is your feeling, is your own feeling. It's that energy that's stagnant within you, right?
Yep.
All those characters that are showing up are just putting their finger in your hatred. You see?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's up to you to do something with with what's going on within you.
Yeah.
So that you can step out of it to have a better and a more clear idea of what you can do to bring forth what you want to see in the world. Not continue feeding with that hatred what is already there.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's the only way that we can create change, because otherwise we are feeding on the same thing.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it's just repeating the cycles. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what I started doing, and it really served me, is acknowledge what's going on within me and ask myself, what is it that I can do to create on the outside the opposite of this thing that's in imbalance within me? But first, what did I need to do? I had to acknowledge it in myself, work on it within myself, and then from that, clean slate, let's call it clean slate, we can start building a new way that is going to feed into what we want to see happening around. Because otherwise, the energies get mixed up.
Yes.
The message we are bringing forth is, it's not clear.
Right.
Energy-wise.
That's right.
Energy-wise.
That's right.
So that's why we are still feeding on duality all the time. Because we talk about this, but we talk about the opposite all the time.
Yes.
And it's like both energies are all the time going on at the same time.
That's right.
So we need to pick what energy do we want to feed. I'm not talking about not acknowledging what's going on, because that's not what I'm saying.
Right, but it's having energy tied towards it. Yes,
that's it.
One of my closest friends he was a 10-year Navy SEAL. And he led the largest special forces mission in U.S. history. And he is brilliant and a war hero and a beautiful soul. It's just such a unique, he's just one of the most unique people I've ever experienced, been around. And he asked me, I asked him when we were hanging out one time, I said, do you believe in God? And he was Catholic, K through 12th grade, and come from a real staunch Roman Catholic family. And he said, no, I don't believe in God. And I said, well, why not? He said, well, because if I did believe in God, then I would be a murderer, because it says that you should not kill. And I thought, that's really interesting. And I thought for a second, I said, that's not actually what it says. It says, thou shalt not kill. And what that means is, the law has already been established for what is the consequence for unhealthy behavior in society. Yeah. But him carrying out the law is not the law himself. Yeah. So he is not thou. He's not the singular. The law is established. So and we were talking about this, and that's where people get confused on, if I carry my justice out on someone, if my hatred gets validated and what I want to see happen, then I become relative in my energy and my truth and my experience, and then it's all about me. It comes back to egocentrism.
Yeah.
Versus love is the greatest law, and to love that, to bless those that hate you, to bless your enemies. Doesn't mean you don't have enemies, doesn't mean that these people aren't worthy of the consequence of their actions, because the law of free will lead everyone to the path that they choose.
Yeah.
And yet
sure.
we can still stay in that frequency of love and not take this on. And what you're saying is not feed the, it's not acknowledging the evil. It's seeing the evil and saying, I choose good, and may evil get exactly what evil has chosen, which is death.
Yeah.
That is the end result of evil.
Yeah.
It's death.
Exactly.
What's the end result of love? Life.
Yes.
And
exactly.
we are here to live. We are here to live a very long time on this planet with beautiful divine bodies back into alignment with this earth, giving us the sustenance that it wants to bring forth. And this is I love that you said feeding those and feeding it. The confusion is, if you want to remove the evil, you're actually feeding the evil, as opposed to the evil will be removed with love, not the other way around. Yeah.
Well, this has got to do with law of attraction. I mean, law of attraction says that those things or those circumstances that you want to experience, you got to feed them. But if you keep on talking about what you don't want to experience, you're still feeding it. You're still feeding that.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you've heard of Abraham Hicks.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Okay. So if you hear Esther channeling Abraham, this is something that she's always saying or talking about. If you still talk about, I don't want my partner to behave like that, and I don't want my partner, you keep on talking about that, man, I mean, that's the only thing you're gonna get. Because you're still talking about those things that you don't want to see.
Yes.
And I mean, if you start focusing your energy on what you do want to see, you really truly focus there, that's where that's the path that you will be, walking, not the other way around. Because if you don't give energy to something, then it has no strength to remain.
That's right.
So it's exactly what you're talking about. So yeah.
One of my clients that I do coaching with, we were going through this, what he wants to see in the world. And he said, less inequality, less this. And I said, well, how can we say that in the positive? More equality, more love, more light, more good, more truth, not less lies, less, this and that. And it's a massive shift. Even Solomon wrote in Proverbs, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. If we love life, we will speak life, and we will feed on life. But if we speak death, if we speak cursing, if we speak the negative frequencies, we will keep feeding on those until we wake up and say, I don't like this anymore. I want to change how I speak. Yeah,
totally.
Beautiful sister.
Yes, dear brother.
You are a prophet. You are powerful.
Oh, thank you so much.
And your strength is really beautiful. It's a beautiful strength you have. Do you have, before we wrap, and I want to send people to you and follow you, and do you have anything you could read, or do you have a poem with you? Could you read one of your beautiful divine
you read
poems?
my mind. You read my mind.
That's good.
You did. There's this poem that I wrote, which is very special to me, because it has to do with the fact that I experienced being energy in the universe before I incarnated. And I feel it's a, let me just find it here. I feel it's a very nice poem that might, resonate with many of the audience. Let me find it. Beep, 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 beep. I'm looking for it. Give me a second. I'm looking for give me a sec. I have, the thing is that I have copied all of my poems onto the phone. So yeah, I cannot find it. Wait, I need to go to my Instagram. I'll find it there because it is in there. So sorry about the delay.
No problem. No pressure.
Okay.
No rush. It's all is good. All is
Okay.
well.
All is well.
Yeah, it's all beautiful. While you're looking for
Alrighty.
that, I just want to
Yeah.
encourage everyone to follow you on Instagram, and I'll put your handle in the show notes. And
Thank
when we
you.
post this on Instagram, everyone will be able to see it. But you have done such beautiful job, even editing the videos, the poems to
Thank you so much.
I mean, it's just
Thank you
really,
so much.
and
I mean,
you do a good
I'm
job
a
with
newbie.
cadence.
I'm a newbie because really, I mean, I just, I do what I can. I'm not specialized in editing or anything like that. So, sorry about that.
They're great. Well, I think they're great.
Thank you so much. I'm just trying to bring forth everything that comes through. So I'm going to read you this poem, and it says, I was just a dot of light in the immensity of the universe. Trillions of astral matter would pass me by in a glimpse of an eye. Gusts and winds, the breath of God, the intention of creation. It was all so tempting and yet defying. What messages were there for me underneath the surface of the marvels of the cosmos, I wondered. Big bangs would happen out of the blue, and so would stars and planets and galaxies as a whole appear before my very eyes. The immensity of the womb of the Divine Mother would never cease to surprise me. Creation would amaze me 1 minute after the next. Once upon the mother's inhale, I received a deep message coming from my core, from the nucleus of the minuscule atom of light that I was at that point in time. And this message was not just about that, it was a calling. Yes, it was settled. The mother and I had agreed on the everlasting and sacred co-creation called life. As I embraced her and felt her blessing, she whispered in my ear that it would be fantastic, a true earthly quest that would bring forth the power that she had impregnated me with, the sourceful infinite power of co-creation. She took a deep breath and blew life into me. All of myself became a colorful whirlpool of emotional beingness implanted into the micro womb within our eternal and expanded celestial macro womb. The micro universe within the macro universe became a reality in itself. And all of a sudden, or at least that was what it seemed, I had the urge to take my very first breath in this path of life that me and my eternal and my eternal mother had agreed upon. I was alive once more. Was this my very first breath? Was this my very first cry? The answer came straight to myself. No. Yet the feeling of magic and newness were still present. It was time to take the first embrace from my earthly mother and father. It was time to take the first step in the new way around Gaia.
It's so beautiful. I love it. So beautiful.
So that's one of the poems that I love the most, and it came to me right after meditating. So, yeah, thank you for allowing me to read it to our audience.
Yeah, and thank you. I'm blown away. I'm blown away by you, and I'm really thankful that I can call you sister, and from different parts of the world where we are one even now and connected.
We are.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to continue to share. I love what you post. I love you. I love you, and thank you.
I love you back, bro. I love you back, and I really thank you for this opportunity. I am trying to to share everything that comes through with everyone that wants to listen, if it resonates with them, because this is part of my mission, my service to people, and
you are
sorry.
going to have you are going to speak to thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people. You're going to speak to so many people. There is no awakened moment wasted. And it wasn't just for you, it was for us. It was for all of us. And that's what's going to happen. And just know that the crest of the wave has yet to even reach its peak. It's just the beginning. You're at the beginning of this beautiful wave. So
I know it's the beginning, and I feel honored of being here,
Well, I'm excited to ride it with you and watch it with you, because it's going to be beautiful, and everyone gets to watch with you. So thank you.
Thank you, really. So you know that I'm writing my very first book in English now. Wow. So I'm very excited. I have written 2 books in Spanish. I'm writing my 3rd one right now. Wow. And it's the one in Spanish is going to be called, I'm going to give you the details now. It's going to be called The Mission and the Multidimensional Self. So that's the title for the book in Spanish. And then the one in English, it's going to be called Words for Gaia. And I'm also creating an oracle card deck with a very, very dear sister of mine.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so she's an amazing spiritual painter. Then I can give you her Instagram later on for people if they want to. Yeah, I mean, when you see her paintings, you can tell that this girl, she came from a different planet, really. Wow. We all did, right? Yes. But I mean, really, the way she channels through her painting, it blows my mind. It does. And I mean, the really interesting thing is that we got connected because most of her paintings are aligned with my poems.
Wow.
And it's like,
wow. Wow.
So that's how we got acquainted, and it's like, I asked her, look, I have this thought because I want to create some kind of guidance for the new earth through my oracle cards. I mean, I'm not a great painter, to be honest with you. I mean, I can do some stuff, but it's not, what I'm great at, right? So I said to her, would you like to do a co-creation that we can then share with the world? And she was like, right, let's do this. I mean, she just instantly clicked with me and with my writing, and here we are creating that as well.
Wow. So, I can't wait to buy that. That's going to be incredible. It's going
to be really, really cool, because all the messages are channeled, and not only in the words, but also in the painting. So beautiful. It's very, very beautiful.
Sister Alex, thank you so much for coming on. That was amazing. And what a gift to be able to hear your words, your messages, and your story. Everyone, please go follow Alex on Instagram. I'll put the show notes, her handle in the show notes. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. Continue to release fear, dear brothers and sisters. Release fear, receive love, and walk in light, especially during these coming weeks. Blessings to you all. I am Lucas Mack, and I'll talk to you on the next episode. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for listening. For support in your journey, go to my website, lucasmack.com.